before, which is really fun. And welcome to Tuesday Tea. Thank you for joining us today. I'm here with the beautiful Michelle Griffin. And Michelle and I were just saying we haven't seen each other in a while. And we need to catch up. So we're going to do a little bit of a catch up right live here before your eyes. So if you are a fan of behind the scenes, you are definitely getting one today because Michelle and I have a lot to catch up on. But before we start gossiping and talking about all the things that we love to talk about, Michelle, I am so thrilled that you decided to do this yet again with me.
Yes.
But we had so much fun the first time. And for people who didn't get a chance to meet you the first time, would you introduce yourself and what it is that you do?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on twice, Leanne. It's absolutely great to be here. I'm Michelle Griffin, obviously, as it says right in front. I'm a personal brand strategist, just like Leanne. I work in the B2B professional services space where I spent all those years before. But right now, that's what I do. I help B2B professionals, entrepreneurs, executives build their personal brand. And absolutely love helping people put themselves out there so they can share their message with more people.
Yeah, and how we started or how we met is by putting ourselves out there via the Clubhouse platform. That's how you and I first connected. So that's what we also need to catch up on, Michelle, is how we're going to elevate our Clubhouse experience together. Did you bring your tea today by the show?
I had it, and it's like I already drank it. I had a client call before, honestly, and I drank it during that. I could go get it, but then that wouldn't be good live TV, would it?
It's all good.
Ironically, I probably had 5 cups of tea already today, so maybe I don't have any more.
No, you probably don't. Well, I am going to enjoy my tea today.
Absolutely.
In fact, I'm enjoying tea on the most perfect day. It's finally cooling off here in Kelowna a little bit. So I feel like I can drink tea without guilt, and I can wear sweaters without looking like an idiot. So I'm really happy that we've got some cooler fall temperatures coming in. So, well, one of the reasons I wanted to bring you back on is we have shared loves about a lot of things: personal branding, Clubhouse, but also about LinkedIn.
Yes.
And as everyone comes into the fall season, I feel a lot of people are talking about the to-do list for the fall, the back to school, the getting back onto LinkedIn and optimizing their LinkedIn experience. So I wanted to talk to you about LinkedIn because you, like me, we both believe strongly in the platform. We believe in its ability to connect people and give us an opportunity to be thought leaders. Tell me a little bit about your LinkedIn journey and what has brought you around to now being a LinkedIn advocate.
Oh, absolutely. It changed everything for me, honestly. I left my longtime corporate job in marketing January 2020. And like many of us, I had been a member of LinkedIn since 08, right? Yeah. But I used it poorly. I was in events. And one of the things that connects is I was doing events and dealing a lot with hotels and event space and stuff like that, which is your former industry. But anyway, so I was using it incorrectly and just promoting events. But anyway, so when I became my own business, I hopped on LinkedIn and commented and connected, but I was holding myself back. And it wasn't until December 31st, because I saw the people who were putting content out were the ones who were building their brands faster. Even though it's possible to just kind of do it with commenting and connecting, the trifecta and the better one is content. Anyway, so I decided to put myself out there, and I started on just December 31st every day. I made this challenge. I love challenges. It's kind of this weird thing. And so I started the 365 challenge, and there's a couple hundred people who started with me, and it's on the honor system. I know for a fact there's about 6 or 7 strong ones that I know that are out there all the time, and they're just completely overtaking it. Within a couple weeks or a month, by just putting myself out there, I was meeting people, getting connections, and just, having opportunities come my way. And so I'm not special. Anyone can do this when they do it right. And so that's what I have put this LinkedIn as a platform and tool of choice in my personal brand space. Because, like I'm in B2B and professional services, we're all here. So one thing I do want to caution, as great as LinkedIn is, and we saw this, we can't put our eggs in one basket though. We can meet people and connect with them, but we need to bring them on our own platform. So, I help people do that. And I'm a big advocate on content, because content is unlike someone who said, sorry, the sun's coming in my face. It's someone who told me otherwise on my post today that content is the currency online, because trust is, and I agree with that. But content, how else do we build our brands online if we don't have content? I mean, like our websites have content, our video, this is content. So content means a lot because that's how we connect with people, right? And that's what building a brand is. Show up and as you are to help others and in our own unique way. So that's why LinkedIn is a perfect place for that. No matter views or engagement are off, they're still here and it's still worthy. And this is the best place to be. So does that answer your question in a really long, rambling way?
No, but that's what I love about, about you, about people in our space, is we can literally blab and babble about LinkedIn all day long because we can see the results from being on LinkedIn. And what I love about what you said is that consistency in creating content as a way to build your personal brand. And often you're right. Often we forget that that's such a big part of positioning ourselves as thought leaders, is showing up to serve our community again and again and again. So our community members don't sit around going, well, where did she go? She was here, she was doing something, and then now I can't find her anywhere. And no one can say that about you, because you've done this 365 challenge and you show up consistently, and you've seen your brand grow as a result. And if you wouldn't mind, I know you mentioned the word challenge, so I wanted to remind the readers or the viewers, I have a challenge going on right now. It's a 5-day challenge, not 365.
That's doable.
5. So if you're interested in a 5 days, 5 ideas LinkedIn challenge, everyone can go to leannecalderwood.com/LinkedIn challenge. And what it is, Michelle, is looking at 5 of LinkedIn's most popular content formats. And in fact, I have you in mind, obviously, when I was writing this, because you and I are big fans of the carousel post. And so one of the ideas that I teach other people to do in the challenge is to create a carousel post.
Nice.
So hopefully we'll start to see a few more of those popping up on LinkedIn. One thing you mentioned about showing up consistently is the people who do it, and they seem to be the ones killing it on LinkedIn. Do you think there's room for people on LinkedIn to just create a profile and then kind of hide in the shadows? Do you think there's room for that?
I mean, there's always room for everybody, and it's a very supportive place. And, they say only 2 to 3% posts, but, it depends on your goals. But if you want to build that brand, you want more clients, maybe, I don't know. I mean, you can do anything, but if you want to see real traction opportunities, even if you're an employer, to enhance your career, showing up, stepping out is what people are going to see you. And the funny thing you said is, like you mentioned earlier, like the people who ended up, I know for a fact, I can think of like 5 or 10 people who were super active at the beginning of the year, and I saw them everywhere and they're gone. And it makes me sad because I love seeing them. And they get busy or whatever, and I get it. I'm not advocating by doing this consistently that you should do it every day too, because I think a break is huge. You find what works for you, but make that frequency on a stable place, so you're not burning out, but then you're not invisible either.
Yeah, you raise a good point. You're right. We've seen those people who have consistently shown up, and then they did get that job that they were trying to apply for when they were showing up consistently. And then, of course, we lose them. I see it quite often in my industry, for sure. But consistency, to your point, doesn't need to be once every day. Consistency can be once a week. Consistency can even be just a couple times a month, as long as you create the expectation from your community that you are still there and you're showing up. So I love that. Thank you so much for that. Now, I know you use LinkedIn as a big part of your personal brand, whether that you call that one of your brand pillars or it's just, it comes out naturally when you're talking to clients. What made you decide to kind of put your stake in the ground and start to also provide training around LinkedIn?
I guess just naturally, because, I'm in the personal branding space and it's the natural tool or platform. People would just come to me and ask me, and I just love talking about it. So they just, ask me about it. And it all probably really stemmed last year, last fall. I spoke at a business and leadership conference on it, and that was well received. And that was here locally, even though it was virtually, but there were 500 people from all over the US. So that gave me some exposure too. And that just, by creating that fantastic presentation and resource guides and stuff, I was like, I just love this place. I guess I'm so excited about it because I know the possibilities are there for people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can't find that on other platforms. I mean, you can, but maybe TikTok and stuff. But if in this space, if these are where your people are, and this is where, your realm is, it's just a fantastic place. Not because of clients, opportunity, it's the community. I wake up every day, open up my LinkedIn, and I'm excited to see people there. That's the driving force by me. The community is everything for me. Everything else is just icing on the cake. Yes, it has brought me clients and stuff, but these people are you're my friends. I mean, you're in Canada and I'm in Florida. I mean, we would have never met in a million years.
Opposite ends of the continent. I know. I tell people that about my Florida friends. It's like, I couldn't be further away from you. Like, I really couldn't.
Or how about our mutual friend, Michelle Raymond? Okay. She and I met last December. Yeah. She's in Australia.
Yeah.
I mean, what the heck? And she and I are, we communicate probably once a day on WhatsApp and stuff. We've been friends since like December, met her in the comments. That's where I met her, in the comments.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where we tend to meet the people the most. Now, for people who are not like you and I and are on LinkedIn every day, and we're starting to navigate a lot of the nuances, how can people get started on LinkedIn if they haven't been there for a while and they're just not sure what their first step should be?
Absolutely. I call this the baby step approach. You just start at the pyramid. Start by getting on, making sure your profile good. Start, getting a feel on the feed, maybe liking the first step, following, connecting, commenting. It's like going into a party or networking. You're not sure what it's going to be like. You hear it's great, but just go in there. Get a feel. You'll instantly get the feel. The people are warm and friendly. They don't bite. You'll learn a lot. And it's a fast moving pace, but I promise you, just observing, you will learn so much.
I love that analogy. And it's an analogy I use as well, as it is a virtual networking party. Mm-hmm. And you're going to find your people in that networking party. But before you start approaching everybody and trying to figure out who's who in the zoo, taking that step back and just kind of watching everything unfold. And it'll become clear very soon where your people are at, or the people that you want to start to meet on LinkedIn. So I love that, that analogy. So when people are getting started, I think we've mentioned that one mistake is just jumping in and just, diving into the deep end without a life jacket. And trying to do all the things. What are some other mistakes we should avoid when kind of getting started on LinkedIn?
Well, I mean, obviously, it all depends on your brand. I mean, your goals and stuff. If you want to build that brand, know what you want to be known for. I know some people don't really know, and they just kind of come out and. Now, some people say, oh, you should just write about anything, and that's fine. You are very much, there is no one, no LinkedIn police is going to say, don't write about that, except those Facebook police people, but that's another story for another day. But just whatever is comfortable for you. I mean, I do it from the standpoint of how do you build your brand? What are your expertise in? What are your subject matter? But what, importantly, do your people want to know about? And mix it up with personal and professional, Make it, show your personality, but also show your expertise and your knowledge to help others. I'm just here to help others. Like, at the end of the day, I'm here to just give encouragement, give help. And if that all comes together, I'm probably bad about selling myself on LinkedIn more, I just feel like people come to me naturally and other people too, because they know I'm here to help. And so they want more of that. Now, some other people will take it more about harder sales. And when I say sales, I don't mean sales. Like, that's the mistake. People like connect and try to sell you. I'm talking about social selling, relationship building.
Yes.
That is probably one thing. People connect, and then even as far as sometimes putting connection requests, sell you in the connection request. Those don't get accepted by me. So just be a giver. That's all you have to do. Just be a giver. The law of reciprocity usually chimes in here and it works well. But if you just show up as you, and that's one thing, we all are scared. And when I deal with people, and you probably do too, they're scared to show up because, like, what do people think of me? You know, what do people, I don't have anything to say, but the most important one is, what do people think of me? Like your family or your coworkers or your previous industry, the fear of judgment. So that's what gets people.
And absolutely it does. And Michelle, as you know, we have a clubhouse room, we meaning you and I and about 30 others have a clubhouse room daily about LinkedIn. And the Monday room that I typically help out with the moderation is all about that. It's all about the imposter syndrome and getting over those feelings of, I'm not worthy to be in this space, whether it's LinkedIn or wherever else. And so we tackle those things, and we ask the tough questions, and what I love about Roy, who ironically also an Australian,
and he moderates with me on Thursday.
In the room, right? So, I mean, they're awesome. So Roy, who's a co-moderator with me on Monday, the one thing he says repeatedly, and I'm going to just get it tattooed on my arm one of these days, is, what is the worst thing that can happen? Exactly. And I love when Roy challenges me with that question, is, what is the worst thing that can happen if I post on LinkedIn today? What is the worst thing that can happen if I reach out and try to connect with someone that I want to get to know better? What is the worst thing that can happen if I put a call to action in my LinkedIn profile? And so I love Roy's challenge, because we get inside our heads and we start to, like, if we actually just stopped and thought about what is the worst thing that can happen,
not much.
Bad. In fact, it's not even bad at all. So that, and I think for people trying to get started on LinkedIn, they get themselves
worked up,
and they're in their own head. But hopefully they can stop, take a sip of tea, and say, what's the worst thing that can happen if I step out and become a thought leader in my space? Like,
but on the flip side,
what you want, right?
What's the best thing? Oh, we can give you a list that long. So funny you say Roy. Shout out to Roy, who's maybe just waking up now, but he's my co-moderator, one of my co-moderators on Thursday's LinkedIn Mastery. We're all about content, and the same thing. We have people who are scared not just to show up and then to post. So we work through that a lot. And I can tell you, a lot of times I'm sitting there looking at people's profile. I'm like, oh my gosh, you've got such great stuff. Or the saddest thing is I'll see people post like once a month, once every 2 months. I'm like, just step it up. You've got great stuff, So I try to play the encourager, sometimes the tough love encourager, and in a loving way, like, oh, why aren't you doing it? Because sometimes some people need encouragement and some people need the tough love encouragement, right?
Yeah.
So,
so true.
Yeah. At the end of the day, though, you have to do what's right for you and the format and whatever. So I got some pushback today. I had this little thing about challenge and to do these 50-word posts, and a few people like, 50-word posts, that's stupid, whatever, or you shouldn't tell people to do. I'm like, no one's telling anyone to do. It's just a challenge. It's just fun. It's just 4 times a month. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I'm just saying, if we mix up our short form content, especially when I tell my clients, if you're just coming out on LinkedIn, make it short and sweet so people will be more inclined to read it, and then you can do it. I'm not saying we should get rid of long form content. No. It's just to mix it up. So you're always going to get pushback, but like, what's the worst thing? Nothing. If anything, people will talk about it or something, right? That could be the worst thing. And that's
so true. Oh, so true. Well, I hope people accept your challenge. I'm going to accept your challenge. I will do a 50.
It's just something fun. I just like challenges. I did the 365 in August. You want my August challenge? It was more for myself. I said I wasn't going to do a poll in all of August, and I was going to do a daily LinkedIn story which is so fitting because today they announced
I heard that.
the LinkedIn stories, because something new and better is coming down the road. So, wow. So they're taking them off the shelf starting September 30th. So.
Yeah. And wouldn't you know it? Oh, so one of my offers is a LinkedIn course for the hospitality industry. And of course, part of the course is about the different content formats. And I was just getting ready to craft some additional content around LinkedIn stories for the course. And so now I'm like, oh, I guess I don't have to do that anymore. So thank you, LinkedIn. I no longer have to create that as part of my LinkedIn course. But you're right, that I think one of the things I love about LinkedIn is in the same way that we encourage one another to test and retest different things at work. LinkedIn's doing the same thing, right? They tested stories, it fell flat. We can all gather in our little LinkedIn rooms and decide why didn't it work, and we can debate that for hours, but it didn't work. And to be honest, it's a bit of a relief for me because it's one less thing I have to do now. I don't have to do LinkedIn stories. But now they're going to try other things, and they're starting to tease out some other video type formats. So, we need to take a page from our own book and give LinkedIn the grace and flexibility to test and retest things. We do it as creators. We encourage our clients to do it as budding creators. We need to let LinkedIn creators the same leniency and grace. So, so whether you're sad or happy about the disappearance of LinkedIn stories, it's because they're working on other things. They're not sitting back and doing nothing.
And they probably had to take that format down to put the new one coming up. So we shall see, Fall is a great time. We're going to get a lot of LinkedIn gifts, I think. I really do think they've been handing out lots of things coming up in fall, and Creator Mode 2.0 and all the things. So they keep us on our toes here, for sure.
They do, which is, again, I love it. I love that they are creators just like the people they encourage to be on the platform.
Exactly.
Yeah. So for those of us who are on the platform regularly, we're in the networking room now. We've got our drink from the bar. We're starting to mingle. We're starting to add our content to the room. What are some advanced strategies for people who are regular users of LinkedIn, but they want to level up their game just a little bit more?
Start posting more frequently or consistently. You're in the room. You've liked people's posts. That gives you reassurance. It's baby stuff. Maybe you start following people, seeing their content. Maybe start sending out some strategic connection requests. And I do recommend personalized ones if you're just starting, because that will be more inclined to, people can identify with who you are. And then just find some opportunities to post. And the way I do it is like, what do you want to be known for? What do your people need? What problem do you solve? All those things. And just find a mixture of being helpful, inspiring, entertaining, somewhat personal, somewhat professional, a mixture, and just start testing. Start testing the baby stuff. So, like you say, test formats too. So it doesn't have to be like, oh, you're going to go put videos on and stuff. Just start testing little things. And I guarantee you can't know until you start trying and testing. And I think you will find what you like, what resonates, and what, you could keep doing. So that's the best thing. And then just comment. The more you get, the faster you can get known is by engaging in other people's stuff. We know that, but I don't know how well. Actually, I would think you should ramp up engagement more if you're just coming out of the gate. Go shake more hands. Go introduce yourself more.
Yeah, you raise so many good points, the power of the comment. And we've definitely seen that in the last few years as being such an incredibly powerful tool on LinkedIn for growing your brand, is commenting on the posts of people that you want to get to know better. The word thought leadership comes up a lot. And I love the word thought leadership because I think we can all dissect in and of itself what the word thought leader is. And I think the word thought leader creates some fear in people. What is the benchmark or the checklist to consider yourself a thought leader. And it holds people back from creating content. So I wish there was another word, but I want to encourage everyone that a thought leader is anyone who has even just a slight edge in one specific area over a community of people, or your discussion starter. And I think that's a great opportunity on LinkedIn. Is maybe you don't have all the answers, but you kind of want the answers. If you start a discussion about it, you're considered a thought leader. You're the one going out there and you're eliciting feedback from the community. So, it doesn't always have to be about, I think this and I think that. Your content can look more like, well, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And invite the community into a discussion that then gathers some different content ideas for the future.
I love that. So again, you're using content to build community, which builds trust. So again, content comes in to be in that currency of the internet. Your thought leader is like personal branding. It gets misconstrued. A lot of people, when it talks about thought leadership, it's like thinking you have to be some, CEO executive. It's reserved for them. No, if you have expertise or something, I believe that you should put it out there. Now, the irony you said that, I gave a speech last week, or a presentation last week in a Brand Print Summit, about thought leader influencer. How do you position your brand? And I wrote down the difference between a thought leader and an influencer. And my thing is, you should aim to be a brand authority, because a brand authority is someone who uses our expertise, but it uses ideas that matter. So, Simon Sinek and the whole thing about your why, to be a brand that matters and brings ideas to the table and make a difference, that's what you want to be. You start these conversations for topics that matter and bringing community. So that's kind of what you become, a brand authority, just by virtue of bringing people to get on topics that matter and interest them. So it's a longer deep dive, but I didn't recommend being an influencer, because that's more like, hawking products and services. Vogue magazine, or Vogue Business, came out a couple weeks ago with this wonderful article, and I can link to it, about this whole new crop of influencers they're called genuine influencers, where they want to talk about ideas versus products. And that was it tied in really well. It came out the day I gave my presentation, actually. So as a whole, we're seeing more people want to discuss relevant society issues that matter, So
in your opinion, that genuine influencer word, how is that different from a thought leader, in your opinion?
Well, that was the one, that word is what Vogue Business article, they're more talking about people and more like the Instagram setting. They don't want to hawk products and services. They want to talk about and have content. It's kind of like the content entrepreneur, which is starting to be a coin phrase. They want to talk about ideas that matter, ideas that bring difference. We're not just superficially talking about influencing people's perception of products or services. And that's what traditionally influencers, for the Instagram influencer, I'm thinking, so it's upping up your quality of conversation, I guess. Going back to that conversation starter, we're on a deeper level now after the 2020, right? In so many ways. So it's not just entertaining, and it's not just educating. It's bringing a whole mix of that to see what matters for people. And we all have a voice, and we should be using it.
Well, and what I like about what you said is that we are doing this so often in 2020 and 21 because of the pandemic that will remain unnamed. And as someone that's in the industry of bringing people together, you're right. We all learned very quickly how to share thought leadership when we couldn't be in the same room as one another. So
exactly.
Yeah, and that's not going to go away when we start to gather again as people. But this has given us a platform to practice. It's given us a platform to, again, test and retest different ideas, so that when we do come together, we can communicate our ideas a little bit more effectively. So Absolutely. It has been a bit of a blessing, a curse and a blessing all at the same time, to have to create this thought leadership during a time when we can only do it virtually. So, you know, I wanted to show Jen Ellen's comment again. Jen Ellen's actually a friend of mine, Michelle. She lives in Calgary, and she was formerly in the hospitality industry. She's moved on to different industries. But here's her comment. She says, it's a difficult thing to come to grips with about what makes you special and what makes you, what you have to say, important. And this stalls a lot of people. You're so right, Jen Ellen. It does stall a lot of people, which is one of the reasons that hopefully people like Michelle and I exist, right? Through our content and through our services and offerings, we're helping individuals find what makes them special and finds what they have to say that is important and considered thought leadership. So definitely check out the resources that Michelle has. Definitely check out the resources I have. Hopefully you can find something that'll help you find that thing that is special about you and bring out your thought leadership as well. So
I have, for her, if you go in my profile, I have, I think it's like the second or third of my showcase, I have this article about how to write your about summary. I think that's one. It has a free Ikigai. You know, you're familiar with the term Ikigai, your reason for being and your personal brand. You can print that out and it asks you some of those questions. You know, the Ikigai is, you know, I know it's not traditionally used for personal branding, but it's just one of the little things I ask and bring people, because you want to align with who you are professionally, basically who you are, what the world needs, what they'll pay you for, and what you're good at. The four things, you know. Yeah. And that's a start. But I promise you, the way everyone has something. It's really hard for me to say that. I mean, that's why you and I worked with people to pull it out of them, you know, to uncover it. We don't create a false sense of it. We find the real part of it. And we're all trapped in it, in our own ideas. And I always say, in the frame of the picture we're in. So you need someone, you know, and even if you don't hire someone, have someone take a resource and have someone ask you these questions, because it's hard to get it out of ourselves. Wouldn't you agree? It's almost impossible.
Well, and it's that mindset thing again. It keeps popping up when we talk about branding and LinkedIn. Yes. But I think it's something that can't be ignored is find yourself in a healthy headspace before you dive into these exercises, so that you're very honest about yourself and you're not allowing those limiting beliefs to hold you back from sharing what is your unique perspective on the world. So mindset work is a big thing when you talk about sharing. Yeah, it's everything. You're right. It's
and one of the best things I try to tell people is, look, when you're coming out, it's intimidating, but personal brands aren't about you. They're of you or someone else. So you're coming out to help that person. So they need you. So if you're going to stay hidden in everything and not be clear in that, those people need you. So we're here to serve others, you know, in my brand and the branding work I do. So it's not about us. So when you lead with someone else, and it seems less scary when you put the focus on others. So that's one way to talk about it.
Well, and Marie Forleo, she's doing a podcast series right now for creators. So creatives, content creators, whatever you want to call us. And each podcast begins with the unique gifts we have as creators. And if we don't share them, we are literally stealing from the people that we're trying to serve. Wow. And she uses that word steal, and it's like, wow, like she just
puts it in perspective,
right? Like no holds barred with Marie Forleo ever.
Yeah.
But you know, when she challenged me with that, it's like, holy cow, I better continue showing up. So I'm not stealing from people. Like, you know, she scared me out of.
But it made you think, and it made you change that perspective if you had that any slight doubt, right? You know, like I'm saying, it's for other people, not us. So I guarantee you that we all have that thing. We just have to find it and have someone help us find it usually. So.
Exactly. So Michelle, I always enjoy our time together so much. And I do know that we have some other stuff to catch up on, but I will not bore our audience with the logistics of our schedules. However, if people want to learn more about you, where can they go to find you?
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for having me on a second time. I will come back anytime to talk with you. You can go, of course, follow me on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn, say hi there. I'm always very open and I answer all my DMs. My website is michellebrands.com, and you can find me there with my resources. My LinkedIn Live season 1 is just ended last week, and my season 2 is coming out, but I am going to be putting all those in a podcast form launching next week on my website. So plus other podcast episodes like Michelle Raymond's in that one and some other great people. So you can check me out there. And I will be working on getting more content and resources out for this month. That's my goal with my LinkedIn Live on hiatus till next month.
So we're on hiatus. Well,
yeah, season 1's over. You got to give that break. Remember I said you can't be, it's a lot of work. I love it though. Love it. But you got to have time to take a break and regroup. So important.
You know, so we're going to talk about that. I like how you've created these seasons. So let's talk about that a little bit more offline. Everyone, thanks for joining us today. If you are watching this on replay, the comment section is open. And so if you have questions or insights about what you're hearing today, continue to drop them in the comments, because Michelle and I will be monitoring the comments even on replay. So we want to hear from you. We want to have this two-way thought leadership dialogue that we were talking about in the episode today. So we want to have that with you. I want to thank Tamika and Jen Ellen, who have already given us some insights and things to talk about. And I encourage both of you ladies to continue commenting if you revisit this on replay. Thank you again to Michelle Griffin, who has always been such a joy. She's so sunny. She's wearing yellow, her signature color today. She's just such a dear friend and collaborator, and I'm so thankful that you're in my life, Michelle.
Thank you. Same here. Thank you so much. Right back at you. I appreciate it. I'm going to put that Vogue business article in the comments too. Ooh, it's super interesting. Super interesting.
I would like that very much.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, I appreciate it.
See you next time on Tuesday Tea. Have a great Tuesday, everyone.
Bye.